Davis here in studio. Kiko Alonso had arthroscopic surgery on that bum knee of his. Could return in a few weeks, according to the worldwide leader in sports. So it's not like one of those out for the season.
Not for the season.
Well,
that's good. That's
well,
good.
at least the Eagles got a win on the board this past week. But,
yeah.
But how do they look to you, though, the Eagles, when it was all said and done?
Defensively, their defense is much better than it's being given credit for. It's going to have to keep them in a lot of games. And from just watching the film, just looking at what they're doing, DeMarco Murray is in a bad spot because that offense is designed for him to make a guy miss. You want to get a guy one-on-one whenever possible, but it's the blocking scheme that I'm looking at, and I've gone through all those runs. It's designed for him to do what Shady did. Shady's the hardest guy to tackle one-on-one in open space in the league, I believe. If you don't think he's number one, he's top three. You have to make guys miss. He was making guys miss. That's why the running game was so good there the last couple of years. DeMarco's got to make that guy miss every time, and that's not his game.
His game is just to put his foot in the ground and run straight for an open spot.
And that's what Chip said he wanted, but that's after you get past that initial guy. They're unblocked guys, backers, and just the way the offense is designed, it's designed for guys to block backside and not go to the next level. And until that changes, I think it's going to be tough for them.
And we were talking about their scheme last week with Josh Huff saying that the Cowboys, you overheard them on the sideline knowing that the plays were coming. And you're like, look, the Eagles have only a certain number of plays, and you watch it on film, you know what's coming. Now here we have Golden Tate saying 3 straight games of the 3 straight losses to start the season for the Lions. Opposing players have come up to him saying, look, we knew what you were running. We saw it, we stopped it. And then he's sort of saying that we got to switch up the scheme. Isn't it the same thing, though? Don't the Lions have a certain finite number of plays like everybody else in the league?
Yes.
Interpret this for me, in other words.
Well, the scheme was fine last season, right? When Golden Tate was scoring the touchdowns and making all the yards, and they got into the playoffs, and he had a tremendous year for them. It's amazing how the scheme is an issue, and guys know your plays when you're not winning. Everybody knows what you're doing. You can only run a certain number of plays. If you average 65, 75 snaps on offense, Rich, you can't run 75 different plays. You're not going to remember those plays. That's why you have OTAs and training camp, and you practice certain plays. They talk about timing and all of these issues. Why? Because you're running the same plays. Everyone knows that. If I'm playing New England, I got a pretty good idea as to what's going to happen if I'm playing defensively. They're going to look for Gronk. They're going to look for Edelman in the slot. And for some reason, those guys still catch a lot of balls, right? Execution. Catch the ball. Catch the ones that come to you. Don't worry about the ones that they don't throw your way, and make a play. It's that simple.
Yeah. So
everyone knows what other teams are doing. You have to stop it.
So Bobby Wagner, who's coming up in hour number 3, he already knows what the Lions' plays are coming up this week.
Well, it's Wednesday. He doesn't know it yet, but he'll know it Sunday. He's going to know in certain formations, in certain parts of the field, they like to do certain things. It's an either or. You know, you're gonna narrow it down. The entire playbook, you're gonna narrow down that 100 plays that they have to 3 or 4 things that you're looking for based on a key that they give you. And then you react to that. I don't know what you're doing, but I have a pretty good idea. And then once the X's and O's start moving, you can figure out what's going to happen if you've done your job.
Use your instinct based on the studying that you've done all week. So interpret for me, who is Golden Tate pointing a finger at, the coaching staff or the quarterback?
You know, I don't know if he's pointing a finger at anyone. He's just frustrated.
Well, he's saying, look, that they know our plays, that we're losing because that the other team is saying it's simple. It's because even if they say they know your plays, and you are saying that there's a certain finite number of plays to know, so it makes it so the defense will eventually figure it out before toe meets ball in a game. Even if that is the case, as you are saying that it is, he is saying that it's simple to be beaten right now. That it is simple for us, that he's being told by an opponent, it is simple for us to beat the Detroit Lions.
He's frustrated because he's losing right now because if you ask Golden Tate, my comment to Golden Tate, the question I would ask him, do you not know what the defense is doing? Are you not lining up looking at that defense, at that front, the secondary, that corner who's over you? Are you not looking at him saying, okay, I know what he's about to do? You do. You understand, okay, I see the defense that you're playing. I know, so go now, let's go play. It's the same thing. You understand what I'm doing. I understand what you're doing. Now I have to stop it. I still have to stop you from making the play. If I make more plays than you, I win. It's that simple.
Eric Davis joining me here on the program. Jim Tom Sula this week finally got the point-blank question, why is Colin Kaepernick still your quarterback? I mean, flat out asked him that. And his answer could have been, well, there's Blaine Gabbert back there. I mean, what other possible answer could he give?
Well, my answer would have been, well, Blaine Gabbert's back there.
Well, what is, with all due respect to Blaine Gabbert, what is Kaepernick's issue right now? What is the malfunction here? Because the underlying question is, have they put their eggs in the wrong basket? Because all the eggs are in this basket, and all the basket has been recreated to put the eggs in that basket. So it goes straight to the heart of the direction of the franchise, that very question.
Bad mechanics. So I mean, the eggs are in that basket. You can't move the quarterback right now. Number one, it's just way too early. You're 1 and 2. You can't do anything. I looked at every single throw. Watched the game, watched the tape, then went back and just looked at every single throw. And it's just, he played poorly. You can't put it on mechanics. They weren't great. You can't put it on late reads. They weren't great. You can't simply put it on bad throws. He had opportunities to make plays where he underthrew balls by 10 yards. He just played a bad game. The worst he's ever played, which there's two ways you can look at that. You can say, well, things are just falling apart, or you could say that there's no way he could possibly play any worse than he did. I think it would be very difficult for him to have a game that bottoms out more than that one.
Well, the problem is they're 1 and 2, and they've got Aaron Rodgers coming to their house.
Yeah, they have Aaron Rodgers coming. Until he fixes what he's doing, and it was him. It was him. Until he fixes that.
It's not just Aaron Rodgers coming to the house. It's Aaron Rodgers, who wanted to play for the 49ers, coming to their house. Yeah. And that still will stick forever. Yeah. I don't care how many MVPs he has or Super Bowl rings he has. Yeah. And this is also the team that Kaepernick had one of the all-time greatest playoff performances against this defense that was stewing all offseason long, hearing about how easy it was to do that also. They're facing a very nasty opponent coming in this week.
Well, offensively, Green Bay can do their thing. You know that. Now, the issue that they always had was with the defense, and Cap always had good games because Dom Capers' defense just didn't play that read well. You look at what they did versus Seattle. They're playing the edges very well, and moving Clay around a lot, and it's causing teams problems, but they're playing that. So that's a major part of what the 49ers have done to them in the past. So defensively, I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. I was interested in seeing if that running game with the new zone blocking scheme was going to be the Minnesota Vikings or the previous, the following two games. Right now, it's looking at more like the following two. Minnesota played a horrible game that first week. This is going to be a tough game. It's a game that they'll get up for. They'll definitely be up, but they have to play better. They just simply have to play better, and it starts with the quarterback. You only go as far as the quarterback.
Yep. Eric Davis here. Will you stick and stay for another segment, top of the next hour? Will you do that for me, please?
I sure will.
Thank you, sir. I already knew the answer to that question, but that's all right. Thank you for doing that. Eric Davis is here in studio. We're back in 60 ticks of the clock with some fantasy advice for you. Our no defense game of the week. When we return, we choose which games will have very little defense and a lot of opportunities for you to make fantasy points. That's next here on The Rich Eisen Show. Later on, our friends at Sports Jeopardy on Crackle are going to help bring us a weekly segment where you guess the schedule. We played Guess the Schedule. When the schedule came out, we did a win-loss game. It's a lot of fun. Fans enjoyed it. We're going to do that later on at 844-204-RICH. Call in now to play the Guess the Schedule game for the 6 or 7 games that Ben Roethlisberger is going to miss. I want to know from you what you think the Pittsburgh Steelers record is going to be while Big Ben is on the shelf with that knee injury. He's expected to be out 6 weeks. And also, while you're at that, go to richeisenshow.com/draft-ops to sign up this week for your chance to become our Celebrity League Fan of the Week. Week 1, our Fan of the Week won $1,000. We play for charity. You play for the charity at home. We'll announce our Fan of the Week on Thursday after Chris Law chooses it at random from richeisenshow.com/draft-ops. draft ops. Eric Davis, you want to just play the arbiter on this this segment?
Yeah, why not?
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
He's sticking around here.
Yeah.
It's now time for our no defense game of the week.
I'm not pleased with what we did on defense.
Watch the ball.
DraftOps.com's No Defense Games of the Week.
Okay, we highlight game points, games where points are going to be everywhere. A good place for you to look if you happen to be playing Draft Ops Pick 3 this very weekend in week number 4. Chris Law, because last week got a little messy, we decided that you would go first this week in a rotational basis where you choose the game. Did I go first last week? What's going on now?
You selected first. You had first pick at games this week. I had second. We moved Brockman back to third.
So I get to go first.
You go first.
Because somebody broke the rules last week.
False.
Okay. My no defense game of the week is going to be Houston at Atlanta. I think it's time for Houston to go on the road and see easily the best offense that it has faced in all year long. They are going to have their hands full, that Texans defense. I understand that J.J. Watt is going to be trying to gun for Matt Ryan. I believe that their offense is top 5 in this league. Julio Jones is off to the greatest start in the history of the National Football League. First guy to have 3 straight games to start a season of 135 yards or more. I say he makes it number 4. And I choose Julio Jones in this no defense game of the week, Houston at Atlanta. Why are you shaking your head, Chris Brockman? Why are you shaking your head? Atlanta hasn't stopped anybody. Who have they stopped?
That's a great choice.
Thank you, Chris Brockman. I appreciate that. What's next? Who's next on this list here,
What do
please?
you got?
I'm next. I'm going to stick with the Raiders again. Back-to-back weeks. Raiders taking on the Bears this week. We're talking scoring here, right? And no defense. Bears last in scoring defense, tied for 28th in rush defense.
Yep.
The Raiders are tied for 28th in scoring defense. Only problem is that Bears offense and if they can put up points or not. I do think Matt Forte, though, will get some solid yards on the ground, hopefully pop one in. But I'm going back-to-back weeks with my guy Latavius Murray.
I don't blame you.
Can't not go with him. He's averaging 99.5 scrimmage yards per game, and he's got 430 rush yards, 167 receiving yards on the season. In our Draft Ops League, you get 0.5 points for a reception, so that's why I'm taking Latavius Murray.
You like that choice?
That's a good call. I mean, the Bears have a bunch of defensive ends that are trying to switch to the new scheme and learn how to play linebacker.
And they traded away Jared Allen and Bostic this week.
But Jared was having a hard time. He was having a hard time playing that edge for the backer position. He's an end. Mm-hmm. He's really a DE. He's just not an outside linebacker. So he was out of place.
It made sense for them to move him along.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Chris Brockman, your no defense game of the week would be?
I'm going Jacksonville at Indianapolis. Desert has this at 48, the over-under. Colts have given up 27 points per game this year, and we all know Jacksonville gave up 51 last week to New England. Both teams are giving up 383 total yards, 5 touchdown passes. Jacksonville is 25th against the pass this year, giving up 283 in the air. That's why I like Andrew Luck. Sure, the numbers might say, yeah, he's first in interceptions. He's 29th in completion percentage. But you know what? He's due. He's due. Everyone thought he was MVP and the Colts were going to the Super Bowl. Luck's going to have a huge game this week at home.
Show me something game.
This is a show-me game.
So for a second consecutive week, Chris Brockman takes the number 12 quarterback at home against the Jacksonville defense in his DraftOps.com Pick 3 Friends of Rich League, and he accuses me of being a cheater. That's all I am pointing out.
I have statistics.
Let me ask you this. Hold on a minute. Let's embrace this moment. Let's embrace this moment.
Okay.
Because we've been debating this all. Let's hashtag embrace it. Hashtag embrace it. Did you think going into that game last week that the Jacksonville Jaguars were going to light up the Patriots defense, that there would be no defense by the New England Patriots?
That's not the point of no defense.
Did you think going into that game, forget about what the numbers were prior to the game. That is just something that one might use to fashion an opinion. Got it. But when it all comes down to it, as an analyst, as somebody that is trying to impart wisdom to the fan of this program, to tell them who to choose in a game, what do you think? Did you think the Patriots were going to play poorly on defense at home against a visiting Jaguars team that had never won in New England?
The game was closer than I thought it was going to be.
Very good.
I didn't even think that. I thought that was a really good matchup. Reason being, you had a coach in Gus Bradley that now has an opportunity to. He's been trying to tell his team what championship ball was going to be like,
and
he was going to be able to look at that film and say, guys, this is what we're trying to get to. That's all that game was.
So did you think the Patriots defense was going to show up?
I thought the Patriots defense was going to show up. I think it's going to show up this week. I think it's much better than anyone thinks.
Every part of Rich's argument is valid here. There's no questioning it. But when you then look at your pick, that's when it gets a little fishy.
I purposely made my pick
a bad one.
An absolute affront.
Mockery of the segment.
A mockery of the segment.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what I did. I did that. When your name's on the mug on the desk of the show.
Yeah, this is true.
You know what I mean? And
you can't change the rules.
And you could just call up a split screen to embrace a debate.
There you go.
With a topic bar with a question mark.
You're breaking the rules.
That's what it is. That's what you can do.
I have real statistics to back my play.
You're breaking the rules.
You're just breaking the rules.
Statistics that New England's defense wasn't going to show up.
Yeah.
No, that they were just not very good and giving up a lot of yards and points.
Oh,
see,
it's okay. I don't know, but
And the point of the segment was a lot of points in the game.
Here's what we're going to do.
That game had the highest scoring total of the week.
Here's what we're going to do.
But you have to look at who they played against and who they were playing.
Let's just turn the page.
Let's turn the page.
let's just embrace turning the page on this, because it's something that we're just not going to be able to solve or crack the rules, other than the fact that moving forward, we're going to choose a game where we believe that neither defense is going to show up. It's going to be a high-scoring game, and we choose a player from that game.
My game was the highest scoring last week.
Yes, because one team scored 50 and the other scored 10.
Yours was not.
Okay, let's just turn the page.
Got it.
And look, whether you love football as much as we do, or as much as Joe Manganiello loves the Steelers, and he will join us tomorrow from Pittsburgh, PA, to check in on his Friends of Rich Celebrity League team and his Steelers, you need to go to DraftOps.com. As we told you earlier, DraftOps just announced today the World Series of Fantasy Sports with $5 million available in total cash prizes around the postseasons of the 4 major sports leagues and golf's United States Open. For more information or to play, go to draftops.com, DRAFTOPS.com. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll take some more of your phone calls, and Eric Davis will join us also at the top of the next hour to talk about Ben Roethlisberger. And you call in right now to tell me what you think the Steelers' record is going to be with Big Ben on the shelf. First game up is tomorrow night. Mike Vick against the winless Ravens on Thursday Night Football. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial. Bobby Wagner of the Seattle Seahawks still to come, and Rob Riggle in studio. That's here on this Wednesday program. Hour number 3 of the Rich Eisen Show. Eric Davis is sitting to my right here from the NFL Network, NFL Media Group, my compadre here on the Rich Eisen Show. Bobby Wagner of the Seahawks calling in about 20 minutes, and then in about a half an hour, the in-studio doors open up, and one of my favorites, the funny Rob Riggle, will be here in studio talking about a movie called Hell and Back that is so not safe for work. We could not find enough of their trailer to be able to play for when he comes here, Eric Davis. That's how fun and funny and not safe for work his new movie's going to be. Now, there's some news I want to hit right now, some injury news, because is it a coach speak thing that if a player doesn't practice on Wednesday, there truly is less likelihood of playing on Sunday? Or is that a real reality?
It depends on the injury, depends on the player. I had an entire season where I didn't practice Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday.
Really?
Yeah, I had 2 hernias, sports hernias that I had to have work done on. I couldn't walk during the week, and then I'd wait and I'd take the needle, game day, and I'd play. And then the next week I'd sit and watch. So it depends on who the player is, whether, pain level, how long that guy's been in your system. Does he know how to prepare without getting the reps physically during the week? So,
and I'm assuming you suffered your sports hernias on the field, not sitting down in a chair. Essentially.
Yes.
Okay. I just need to
know where you're going. I see what you did there.
Well, I need on this program, things need to be delineated as such, because you never know.
You never know.
When somebody might pull something by sitting down, like Mike Del Tufo,
or pull something while sitting down. Not. Yeah.
In real injury news, Marshawn Lynch, according to my buddy Adam Schefter at the Worldwide Leader in Sports, my longtime colleague at the NFL Network before he left for Bristol, says it's 50-50 that Marshawn Lynch plays this weekend on Monday night. Can you really know that right now? I mean, but if you're hearing, if people close to Marshawn are saying 50-50, he must really be hurt.
Yeah. And I mean, do you really know right now? No, because this is probably
Monday
one of
night
those.
too.
This is one of those scheduled days. You get the extra day, but it depends on the severity. We all know that.
Yep.
He's going to try it if at all possible, of course.
Kiko Alonso had knee surgery today, according to Ian Rappaport, my buddy from the NFL Media Group. that this was part of Dr. James Andrews' second opinion to say, let's go in and see what's in there. And according to Dr. Andrews, the left knee ACL was deemed intact, which is good news.
Yeah, that's good.
So he's going to play again this season, likely after a month of rehab, according to Ian Rappaport on that front. Bill O'Brien just named Arian Foster a game-time decision after practicing today for the Houston Texans against the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay.
But if he plays, that would buttress my no defense pick of the week, to say the least.
Yeah, to say the
Speaking
least.
of no defense pick of the week, Andrew Luck was limited in practice today, Mr. Brockman.
Yeah, I saw that after my pick was made.
Well, here's the thing. Chuck Pagano said it's just sore. They're erring on the side of caution, and that he has, quote-unquote, supreme confidence that he will play.
They just don't want Luck talking to the media.
Yeah, right.
Is supreme
play.
confidence
You'll be right at some point about that.
greater or
Luck.
less than highly questionable?
See, that last week, Chris Brockman termed, after reading that Eric Decker and Chris Ivory were questionable based on the news about their injuries. You know how you talk about the player and the severity of it? Brockman deemed them highly questionable. That wasn't in the report. And I wondered if highly questionable was questionable plus or doubtful minus, right?
That's an interesting way to look at it.
It's sort of a gray situation.
It's a gray area. Yeah,
because we embrace the gray here on the Rich Eisen show.
As
but
one should.
supremely confident, I think, is probable plus.
I would go with probable plus
Don't you
as
think?
well.
That's a probable plus.
Yes, I think that's a probable plus. You know what? I'm supremely confident that at some point Pep Hamilton is going to change his offense too and allow him to throw the ball underneath.
But that isn't the Pep Hamilton. In all honesty, isn't that the Pep Hamilton offense, the Luck offense from Stanford? Isn't that what Luck wants to run, or are we just assuming that because Pep comes from Stanford?
I think that's, but they're still pushing the ball down, and I think everyone knows that he can do that. And Pep is pushing the ball down the field more than I believe he did at Stanford. And I think they're going to start utilizing the guys. You have Frank Gore. You have T.Y. You have other. Before it was T.Y. and throw all the balls down. And I think Pep has gotten caught into that. And I think he's going to realize that I do have Dre Johnson that I'm not even using.
Not even using.
I have other weapons across beyond just T.Y. And I think he's going to see that and start doing that in the next few weeks.
Eric Davis joining me here in the studio. As we all know, Ben Roethlisberger is out, and we're going to take a phone call right now to guess the schedule of what the Steelers will be without Ben Roethlisberger. Michael Vick saying, quote unquote, this is a great opportunity for me because I don't know if I'm going to have this opportunity ever again. I feel like I have a chance to go out and play freely and go out and enjoy the game, enjoy this moment. Spoken like a man who was ATC at the crib early part of August, and then boom, gets a call from Mike Tomlin, and now boom, he's starting on Thursday Night Football in front of the whole country. And one night's time against the Ravens right now.
Yeah, understood. Now, do I believe it? It's how you view what he's saying as this is my last chance. Maybe he's looking at this as being a starter. Michael Vick can stay in the league for a long, long time. As a backup. He has a fix in his head that he's a backup now. He's not the starter. They're not going to build a team around him. You're not going to be the guy moving forward. So as far as coming in and showing that if your quarterback goes down, I'll know what I'm supposed to do. I will be prepared. I can keep a team moving and keep them above water until your starter comes back. He can play for a long, long time.
But if Cleveland is going to go Josh McCown, right? It's not like he's a young whippersnapper, right? So if there are franchises that are going to go with mid-30s quarterbacks and say, you are our guy until somebody can come along, why can't Mike Vick have that opportunity if he balls out over the next month and a half?
That's what I'm saying. He can, but he has to accept the fact that he is not the guy of the future, just like Josh McCown and these other guys. Michael Vick had an opportunity to do that in other places, but he always said, you know what, I'm a starter. I should be starting. I'm the guy that needs to be there, and you feel that in the locker room. You have to have a guy in that backup role that not only knows the playbook, but will teach the other guy how to take his job, even if you put him in place. I don't know if he was ready to do that before.
Well, let's go to the phone lines and find out what a fan believes this record is going to be, minus Big Ben, with Michael Vick. Now, Ian Rappaport says that with the knee injury and the bone bruise, expecting it to be on the high end of the 4 to 6 weeks, if he's out 6 weeks, that means he would return, Ben Roethlisberger, Week 10 versus Cleveland, a team that he loves to torture at home.
Okay.
But there's Week 11 is the bye week. And I'm thinking right now that when it all comes down to it, based on how Vic does, right, that maybe Tomlin's going to be like, let's have him start a 7th game. And then we get 2 extra weeks of rest by only missing 1 game, because that bye is Week 11. And then you look at the Steelers' schedule after that. It is a brutal stretch coming after that, starting after the bye week, a game at Seattle. So we're going to basically ask I'm going to go to the phone lines and ask them for the record for 7 games.
Okay.
And it's called Guess the Schedule.
Let's do it.
Presented by our good friends by Sports Jeopardy on Crackle. And we're going to go right now to our phone caller. Let's choose Wayne in Houston, Texas. You're on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Wayne?
I'm well. How you doing?
Are you ready to play Guess the Schedule presented by Sports Jeopardy on Crackle, sir?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Mike Del Tufo, the NFL film's music. It is dramatic, and I think it sets the stage appropriately. You also have the sound effects for win and loss. Chris Brockman, you are taking down the wins and losses for me, please.
Have it.
Wayne, you are ready to give me the wins and losses, correct?
Yes, I am.
Starting with Thursday night, home for the Baltimore Ravens. How did the Steelers do?
That's a loss.
That's a loss. Okay. At the San Diego Chargers, Week 5.
That, too, is a loss.
They are home for the Arizona Cardinals, Week 6.
Absolute loss.
An absolute loss. That's like called highly questionable.
Absolutely.
At the Kansas City Chiefs, you have yet to give the Steelers a win without Big Ben, and now they're in Arrowhead, Week 7, October 25th.
That, too, is a loss.
That's 0-4. Home for the Cincinnati Bengals.
It's a close game, but another loss.
That's 0-5. Home for the Raiders.
That's a win.
Okay. And then home for the Cleveland Browns.
They get another win if McCown is still playing quarterback.
Okay. That's an interesting choice right there. So Wayne from Houston, Texas, gives me a 2-5 record.
Party on, Wayne.
2-5
for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's throw Rob from Detroit, Michigan in there, too. You got the music again, Mike Del Tufo? Let's give it to you. Rob in Detroit, Michigan. Are you there, Rob?
Yeah. Hey, Rich, let's rock and roll.
Okay, it's time to guess the schedule minus Big Ben, presented by Sports Jeopardy on Crackle. Rob, this Thursday night, you give me what?
Oh, come on, Rich. Baltimore cannot go 0-4. The last team to go 0-4 and make the playoffs is my 1992 Chargers with Stan Humphries. This is a loss. The Steelers secondary is going to be in trouble against Steve Smith. That's a loss.
Rob, did you have a candy bar before calling into this program? Whew, I love it.
I tried to call in last time for the Chargers schedule. I couldn't get in, so I'm jacked up, Rich.
Okay, so I have a feeling I understand what you're going to give me with the Steelers at the Chargers.
Oh, come on, Rich. San Diego already lost to Cincinnati. They cannot lose to the Steelers and expect to make the playoffs. This is Philip Rivers' homecoming game back from 2006.
All right, Rob, I need the next ones real quick. This isn't Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. You can't do a 50-50 or phone a friend. What do you got for me for home for the Arizona Cardinals?
Loss, Brazilian's revenge.
At the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's another loss. Desperate team.
Home for the Bengals.
No, that's another loss. Big Brother's going down.
Home for the Raiders.
The Raiders aren't going to win too many games out east, so that's a win for the Steelers.
And then home for the Browns.
The worst team in the league. That's another win for the Steelers.
Thank you, Rob in Michigan. I appreciate you calling in. He said 2-5 as well, correct, Chris Brockman?
He did, and that puts the Steelers' overall record at what, 4-6?
I think if they do lose 4 in a row, they're going to try and force Big Ben back faster, right?
I don't think they're going to lose 4 in a row.
What do you think? What do you think they're going to do?
I think the Ravens is going to be a tough one. I think they'll lose it to the Ravens. I think they'll beat the Chargers. Arizona's, I think that's a loss.
Right.
I think they'll beat the Chiefs. I think they'll beat Cincinnati.
That's 3-2.
The Raiders.
They'll beat them.
That should be a win.
Okay.
Although that offense is playing well, I'm going to give them a win there.
Okay. And then versus Cleveland?
They'll beat Cleveland.
So you go the opposite way. You say they're 5-2 with Mike Vick as starter, which, by the way...
There's a guy back in his Steeler play.
Yeah, you are back in your Steeler play. You are back. Are you back in your Steeler play? No, you're looking at me like you just didn't even think about that. You're just going game by game. You took it one game at a time, like all players do.
Yeah, I took it a game at a time.
So 5-2, that's 7-2.
Sure, and here's my question for you,
God, would they sign up for that right now?
Do you think Mike Vick is going to be the starting quarterback for all 7 of these games, or do you think Landry Jones gets back there? Because if you look at the way their offense is set up, Landry Jones is much more similar to Ben Roethlisberger than Mike Vick is.
You don't have to be a genius to know that you just need to hand the ball off to D'Angelo and Le'Veon Bell, and also just throw the ball to AB. It's really that simple. You don't have to do a lot. You don't need to try to run a different offense. You don't need to try to worry about putting in plays for Mike Vick to do things. You don't allow him to screw it up. And the offense is designed with their stars at the running back position and a guy that you can give the ball in short routes and let him turn into big plays to where Mike Vick cannot screw it up.
But Landry Jones, this is his third year with the team, third year in the offense. Mike Vick's been there a month.
Mike Vick's
why wouldn't they go to Landry Jones?
Well, you just answered that question. You've had one guy there for a certain amount of time and one guy who's still trying to figure out if his uniform fits. And if you put the guy in the new uniform, you know the other kid's not ready.
Now that we've had our fun playing Guess the Schedule, go to crackle.com/Sports Jeopardy and test your sports knowledge while watching the latest episode of Sports Jeopardy on Crackle. Hosted by our good buddy, DP, Dan Patrick, the season 2 is underway with a new win-or-go-home format. Last year's winner won $50,000. Catch a new episode every Wednesday, also known as Today. Watch Sports Jeopardy only on Crackle, crackle.com/sports-Jeopardy. Thank you for coming in, Eric. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
You
man.
bet.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.